Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network for Entrepreneurs. I'm Dan Handford, and my wife, Dennae, and I interview successful people sharing stories behind tough decisions that they've had to make along their journey as an entrepreneur. On the podcast with us today is Rick Hopper. Rick, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Great to be here, guys.
Hi, Rick. Dan and I have been looking forward to talking with you, and we can't wait to hear your story. So we just want to jump right in and have you tell our audience a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and then where your focus is right now as an entrepreneur.
Well, my name is Rick Hopper. I've been developing products since I was a little kid. I didn't know I could make money at it until I was well into my mid-30s. And what I'm doing today is just what's right now. I get $1 million idea every week, and they drive me crazy.
I wish I had $1 million ideas every week.
Well, they're out there in the ether for some of us have a high frequency that we attract the ideas. They're not actually my ideas. They come to me. I don't come up with them.
I want you to share a little bit of your story about how you got onto Shark Tank. There's so many people applying to that. How did you get picked?
I'm going to say mostly luck. We create our own luck. We have to stay humble. And when we do, when I say, no, I'm just lucky, people a lot of times remind me, no, you take massive action all the time and you create your own luck. And I'm like, yeah, that's true to a point. But so as far as Shark Tank goes, they get 30, 40, 50,000 applicants per season. And I never saw the show one time for the first 2 years. And when I developed this product, within 6 months of starting to sell, I had literally thousands of people tell me, dude, you got to get on Shark Tank. And I'm like, what's that? And people are, what? You don't watch Shark Tank? Everybody watches Shark Tank. So finally, I did eventually look it up after about 6 months of that. And I'm like, whoa, this is a big deal. Everybody knows about this thing.
And what did you do? Was the massive action to get to that next hurdle?
Well, when I develop a product, obviously it's something I have to have a huge pitter patter in my heart for, something that I personally identify with. And it was a solution for me. Turns out there are millions of people with the same problem that I solved. So when I went into production, I started doing sales. I wanted to figure out who my customer was. So I was doing street fairs and farmers markets and gun show, golf show, home shows, you name it. Every weekend I had my little 10 by 10 tent out in front of somebody, a big group of people, to find out who my customer was. And turns out it was everybody. Now during that 6 month period where I was doing some market testing and actually pulling cash in like crazy, because people were willing to trade their hard-earned dollars for my little goodie. And it was during that time period that I started hearing about Shark Tank. And, back to your question about, how did I get so lucky to get on Shark Tank? Part of it might have been my approach. I looked them up and I did an email submission. I didn't do any in-person interviews or anything like that. I just sent them an email and said, hey, dear Shark Tank, I've never seen your show before, but I've had hundreds of people that tell me to get on their show, blah, blah, blah. And I got a call a week later. It was incredible.
Wow. A week later, you said 30 to 50,000 applicants per season?
Yeah, that's what I hear. I don't have exact stats on it, but I'm a little bit on the inside, being a Shark Tank alumni. You hear different things from people close to you, and that they rifle through a ton of applicants.
Well, and I've even heard it being more than that, Rick. I mean, I don't know, maybe back when you were doing it, it was that low, but I've heard it's over 100,000 now.
Wow.
Oh my God. I feel so bad for people with a great idea. It's so hard to wave your arms big enough to where people find you. And I'm so blessed to have gotten on Shark Tank to get that exposure and get that relationship with Lori. It's a pretty rare deal. I'm the only person in the world that can say I was Lori Greiner's very first deal on Shark Tank.
And that's exciting.
Rick, there may be some people listening that are unfamiliar with you and your product that you actually take with you to Shark Tank. So give us just a short synopsis and describe your product.
Okay, so anybody that wears reading glasses or sunglasses, when they're not on your face, there's no safe place. You hang them in your shirt collar or you put them in your pocket, you bend over, they fall out into various terrible places in the gutter. And I can't tell you how many people have admitted that they actually literally their glasses fall in the toilet. So we scratch them, we break them, we lose them. I mean, I've had 20 people tell me they've run over their glasses that they lost the week earlier. They run over them with their lawnmower. What I did was I took up, originally, it wasn't even a business. It was just I took a paper clip and bent it into a U shape and epoxied it to 2 magnets and put a 3/8-inch fender washer under my shirt, and it stuck on there. And when I bend over, my glasses, they stay on my Readerest. Didn't even have a name back then. It was called my paperclip thingy. And so I developed a simple solution for people that just don't have a place to keep their reading glasses or their sunglasses. It literally pinches onto your shirt with magnetic force so you don't poke holes, and you just hang your glasses in it. And your glasses are always within arm's length, and it's just simple, convenient.
So I want to, dive into the first tough decision that we want to talk about on the episode today, because I love your story. I mean, I've been following you. I think I know I remember seeing the episode when you were on. My wife and I have been watching, Shark Tank since it got started. And so I would love to hear what is a tough decision that you've had to make along this journey since Shark Tank that was a really tough decision that, maybe didn't have that good of an outcome, and what you did to pivot or make changes and some of the lessons you learned through that decision.
Well, I would kind of go backwards and talk about my first successful business. I developed a line of products for window installers. I'm a carpenter by trade, and I developed a line of products for window installers. And I brought a partner in, and we went 50-50 without any good planning. We didn't have a good definition of our relationship. We didn't factor in any good exits or endings to the relationship. And everything changes and everything ends. And that relationship ended very poorly, and I wound up, selling my portion of the company off for 25 cents on the dollar, and that's obviously from my opinion. So I would say that was a tough decision. Was like, do I do a partnership? Who do you know who to trust? And there was a lot of tough decisions, and so that wasn't the best outcome. It was a great product. It was a great company. It still is. And it ended poorly because I didn't put enough into it. I didn't spend the time to predict the future,
And what do you do now to be able to mitigate that risk moving forward in future endeavors that you pursue?
Well, I just make sure I have the last say in everything. So far I have an excellent batting average with making quality decisions from product lines to processes. I design and develop most of my own processes and manufacturing methods, and having the final say. So I like that guy in the commercials that talk about being a control enthusiast, not a control freak. But there's something to be said for having one chief in charge of making the final decision. Now, if you ask all of my employees, they will tell you the same thing. I am 100% open to the experience, wisdom, and challenging questions all the time, because that's, iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. That's an old proverb. It's one of my favorite things. So I make sure I have the last say, but I'm very open to, and I take the suggestions from those around me, because an outside perspective is really powerful.
Well, let's shift here a little bit and talk about some tough decisions, or, really just one tough decision that you've had to make along this journey as an entrepreneur that had a really good and positive outcome outside of the Shark Tank.
Well,
that was a really good decision too.
When I started selling my product, it wasn't done. It wasn't perfect. It had some significant flaws to it. And anybody that has had my first generation and my second generation product, they'll tell you, this thing, the magnets were falling off the back plate a lot, like 6-7% of my product failed. That's massive failure. And so completely develop a brand new process that cost me $20,000 early on. That was a lot of money. So I can tell you now that $20,000 spend on tooling made the company. My company would have died, and we would have just been a good idea, but a crappy product. if I hadn't made that tough decision.
And I know that was probably hard because you were trying to balance it of, well, do I really want to spend that $20,000? And what if it doesn't work? And, all the different decisions that go along with that too.
Yeah. I mean, is the problem that big? I mean, is a 6 or 7% failure rate a deal breaker? Well, it turns out as time went by, that 6 or 7% turned into 25, 30, 35% failure. And, it was the right decision to make.
And right now you're not using paper clips anymore, right?
No, but I do have them on display in my office in a little showcase, like kind of the evolution of how the product evolved,
How has it been working with Lori in this deal?
Lori is incredible. Sometimes I refer to her in a positive way as a vampire because I don't know for sure if she sleeps. She is the hardest working human being I've ever met in my life. I mean, we talk all hours of the day, all hours of the night, not all this full time, but in any given time, I'll see an email come through. I don't even know what time zone she's in. And I've never met anybody that worked harder in my life. And, with Lori, you see what you get. You get what you see. She's good people. She just, she loves people. She's called the warm-blooded shark for a reason.
Rick, talk a little bit about the strategies that you use to make difficult decisions as an entrepreneur.
What happens is that anytime I have got a conflict in my life, I don't care if it's mechanical, if it's relational, if I have a problem in production or whatever, I think through it to the best of my ability, number one. I've got a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom of my own, but you can only get so far with your own ability and your own, history and experience. I have experts. I'm surrounded by mentors and folks that have been in business for many years in every imaginable line of business and profession that I have somebody to call to get wisdom from. And then number three, when I have a very difficult decision to make, I meditate. And it's not, I want to explain meditate for a minute, if I can. It's not a concentration type of meditation. It's a surrender. I take the information at hand, regardless of what the issue is, and I pass the information from my conscious mind to my subconscious mind, which is in the same location as my soul, right below my heart, right in the middle above my gut. And when I lay down and relax for 15 minutes, could be 2 hours, it doesn't really matter, I surrender the conflict to a power outside of myself that I have an understanding of. And I don't want to divide my audience, so I'm not going to be very specific about the God that I believe in. But I will tell you that there is a power outside of myself that arranges information and solves problems. Matter of fact, it happened literally a half an hour ago. I was taking a nap, and I've got a design conundrum on my new reading glass display, and I laid down and surrendered that conflict, and within 3 minutes, an image popped into my head, and it jolted me back awake. It's really powerful.
All right. We are talking to Rick Hopper. We're going to take a short break to hear from one of our show sponsors. When we come back, we'll talk to him about some of his favorites as it relates to his life as an entrepreneur.
Have you ever thought about investing in real estate, but find yourself so busy that you don't have time for it? Do you have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out? At HanfordCapital.com, we help investors with passive real estate investments that project better returns than traditional investment vehicles such as the stock market. If you'd like to find out more about our passive real estate investments, visit HanfordCapital.com. That's HANDFORD Capital.com. We will jump on a call with you to discuss your investment goals and to see if our investments are a good fit for you. This advertisement is not to be construed as an offer or recommendation to buy or sell a security. Visit HanfordCapital.com. And we are back with Rick Hopper, and we're going to be going through a series of quick questions and answers that we like to call the trifecta. So to get us started, what's your most favorite technology that you use in business that helps make your life easier every day?
I'm just going to have to say my iPhone because it's with me every day, and it answers a lot of questions for me.
What's a favorite quote that you've heard that has helped you as an entrepreneur?
Action is the antidote to fear.
And what about a favorite book that you've read that's helped you make better decisions as an entrepreneur?
I'm going to throw two out there. One of them is Principles, Life and Work by Ray Dalio, and another one that was originally published in 1925 called Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. Great stuff.
And what's the next thing for you right now on your vision or dream board?
Well, I'm going to go real specific. I'm launching a line of reading glasses. Readerest is not just an accessory anymore. We're going to serve the industry, and we're going to approach with a line of reading glasses because it's an absolute perfect marriage. We already have little displays on thousands of countertops, and we're just going to buy the airspace above it for $0, put a slightly bigger display out, and allow my customers and my wholesalers to have a lot more dollars per square foot available to their customers.
That's a great idea. And how can the listeners reach out to you or contact you or start to follow you more if, number one, they want to just talk and connect with you or, reach out to you somehow and follow you, or to be able to buy this product that you have, the Readerest?
People can feel free anytime to go to my website. It's readerest.com, ReaderEst.com, one R in the middle. They can reach out to us at info@readerest.com. And I'd like to offer, if you don't mind, I'd like to offer a 25% discount to your loyal following. If they want to use the word tough, TOUGH, and we're going to give them a 25% discount when they go to my website to place an order. It's only available on my website, not on Amazon. But if they use the coupon code TOUGH, we're going to give them a 25% discount.
Cool. That's awesome.
That's awesome. I'll be taking you up on that as well because I don't even have one of those. And as you're saying, as you were talking about where my glasses are right now, and mine are sitting on my desk right now.
You should ask him if did you drop that one in?
Yeah, I have dropped my phone in the toilet. So what's your option for that one, Rick?
Hey, we can't help everybody, bro.
Well, Rick, thank you so much for taking some time out of your schedule to be here with us today. Look forward to continuing to follow you as you continue to grow as an entrepreneur, and I hope you want to come back and share some more of your story.
Yeah, let's get this reading glass program launched, and I'll share some more painful experiences with you.
All right, that sounds good. Well, we really appreciate you coming on.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to gain access to show notes for this episode and to join our free weekly entrepreneur email where we will send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest books for entrepreneurs. That's toughdecisions.net.